Welcome to this Tutor to You Sociology topic video on gender differences in education, looking at the impacts of educational policy. At different periods of time, governments have looked to address the underachievement of both boys and girls in education. Historically, it was girls who lagged behind their male counterparts in education, but in recent years, boys' achievement has become a concern for those in power. The term educational policies refers to social policies that have the aim of specifically impacting on education, but there are other policies that have affected the educational achievement of boys and girls. Policies whose aims were not specifically intended to impact on education, rather they had an indirect effect on educational achievement, and we'll look at some of those first. As a result of second wave feminism, many policies were introduced that looked to improve the position of women in society and create a more equal society. Some, such as the Equal Pay Act, the Sexual Discrimination Act and the Equality Act, focused on discrimination against women in the workplace. Now, these policies had the indirect effect on education of raising career aspirations for girls, as employment became more equal and women were provided with more opportunities to pursue a career than previously. This created a new generation of females who were career orientated and acted as role models for their children or for other girls who were already in education, and led to changes in attitudes of girls towards careers, as evidenced by Sue Sharp's research, amongst others. Second wave feminism also introduced policies that changed women's positions in society. The Divorce Reform Act gave women greater independence to escape from unhappy marriages, whilst the availability of contraception and the legalisation of abortion gave women greater freedom over their reproductive rights. These policies helped change social attitudes to women having careers, with traditional ideas of women getting married young and having a family being replaced by later marriage and pursuing careers. This impacted on educational achievement of girls by changing the norms of women from being housewives to being career women, requiring girls to work harder in education in order to pursue a career first. However, many feminists would suggest that this has actually created a dual burden on women, as they are expected to pursue a career and look after the home and children. Just a side note here, it's important to read the exams, as often questions focus specifically on educational policy. If it does, then indirect policies wouldn't be credited. However, you can still use these policies to examine changes in society and the impact of feminism that has led to improvements in girls' educational achievement. Specific educational policies that have looked to tackle differences in gender achievement really begin with the Education Reform Act. Prior to this, local education authorities could set their own examinations, create their own curricula based upon what they thought important for the local economy, and they could also segregate male and female students in relation to the subjects they could study. This meant that girls may not be allowed to study the same subjects as boys and vice versa. The Education Reform Act changed this with the introduction of the national curriculum, which made it illegal to discriminate on grounds of gender when it came to subject choices. This gave males and females more freedom to choose what subjects and what career pathways they wanted to do, which had a positive impact on the achievement of girls over the past 30 years. Secondly, coursework and GCSEs were introduced, which improved girls' achievement. In the years following the introduction of GCSEs and coursework, girls' achievement overtook that of males, and this had a knock-on effect for girls linked to the third contribution of the ERA, the marketisation of education. The introduction of competition between schools for funding meant that as girls' achievement improved and boys remained stagnant, female students were more desirable to top performing schools, as their hard work and dedication would lead to better results, a better league table placing, and the school being more attractive to prospective parents. Under the new Labour government of 1997 to 2010, educational policy partly continued the process of marketisation, but also looked to address inequalities in education, and by 2007 boys' achievement was a concern. The Department for Children, Schools and Families, now Department for Education, saw the lack of boys' literacy skills as being the source of their comparative underachievement. A number of initiatives were introduced alongside the existing National Literacy Strategy, focused on promoting reading to boys in the early years to improve their literacy skills. Reading Champions is a scheme which continues, and it allocates medals to students for reading in the early years, whilst the Raising Boys Achievement project combines teaching and learning methodologies with literacy campaigns to boost boys' achievement. Playing for Success saw links develop between football clubs and schools, and the former would host literacy and numeracy events with the aim of engaging more boys into education, whilst the National Literacy Trust enrolled the help of the Football Association and footballers such as Frank Lampard to encourage more males to read. Now, these had mixed success, with funding for Playing for Success withdrawn in 2011, and many new Labour educational policies were scrapped under the coalition government. Other policies and initiatives related to gender included GIST, Girls into Science and Technology, and WISE, Women in Science and Engineering, that promoted sciences to females to address the gender imbalance in STEM subjects, science, technology, engineering and maths, whilst the coalition government announced that curriculum reforms to A-levels and GCSEs that have become practice since 2015, removing modular exams and replacing them with linear exams. This move was thought to favour boys' performance on high-stake tests, and the reduction of coursework, which was thought to negatively impact on female achievement. The first results released in 2017 for A-levels showed an increase in the percentage of boys achieving high grades, although more girls were sitting A-levels, so therefore numerically they achieved more high grades. But critics such as Jackson et al. Have suggested that too much focus has gone on boys' achievement in recent years and not enough on the wider inequality between males and females in society. The gender pay gap remains at 17% for all employees, and recent estimates have stated that at its current rate, it would not be eradicated until 2050. We can also suggest that some policies in recent times have reduced the gap in education, with the percentage of boys achieving high grades being higher than girls in 2019. However, more girls are entered into higher level exams, such as A-levels. Finally, despite these changes, one problem persists in education, with teacher recruitment at lower levels than in the past, particularly for male teachers, which demonstrates that not enough is being done to entice males to remain in education and teach the future generations. That concludes this Tutor to You Sociology topic video on gender and education, looking at the impacts of educational policy. Thanks for watching.